Good afternoon and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to celebrate an anniversary of sorts. This 94 Acura Legend LS Coupe has been with me for 20 years as of March 26th, 2023. So I flew to San Jose, California to buy this car in 2003. I was 21 years old and I thought it'd be fun to recognize this occasion by stepping through some of the original sort of timeline of what happened in terms of how I found and bought the car. I've already produced some other videos, especially a longer one in 2020. You can step back in my channel to look at that, but there's a 14-minute video from 2020 when the car had 572,000 miles on it, and I talked a lot about kind of the travels that the car and I have been through over the last couple of decades. Since that video was produced 3 years ago, I've only driven it about another 12 or 13,000 miles. So this car doesn't see a lot of day-to-day use anymore. It's primarily for shows and special occasions, as well as stretching its legs usually about once a week just to keep things lubricated. But without further ado, let's do a little story time. Welcome to Show and Tell. So like I said, this won't be a detailed record of the entire car's life with me, rather sort of the events leading up to my acquisition and kind of how that played out. So we have to start at the very beginning. This car was built in October of 1993. It was a pretty early build 94. You can see it was production number 832. So was initially delivered to Stevens Creek Acura in the Bay Area. What's kind of interesting is when it was later purchased, it was actually from Acura of Pleasanton. So there was a dealer transfer that took place there at some point. But here's the original purchase agreement. The car was not sold until September of 1994. So that explains why it had about 288 miles on it at the time. I got the story from the prior owner that it was more or less a demo car. There weren't probably very many 6-speed coupes at that time, so it was a bit of a novelty. But notice here that there was a $25,000 down payment on the car. The rest was finance. And anyway, that's where the car started its life, was in Dublin, California. This was the pre-delivery inspection. This actually took place a little earlier in the year, back in March. But again, the car was not sold for 6 months later after that. These are some cool pictures that the original owner dug up for me. This was the car as it sat in the mid-90s. Now, obviously, I've left it pretty bone stock, so it looks basically the exact same, just exception of fog lights here and a little lip spoiler and some tint. But it's kind of cool to see that period correct film photography. So then I come into the picture in 2003. This was a printout from 2 days before I bought the car, March 24th, from Auto Trader. I was searching for manual Legends, I think nationwide pretty much, and I found 37 here. So it's kind of fun to see these listings. Like for example, right here, a 94 GS 6-speed black on black, 16.9 with 89,000 miles. That's a pretty cool car even today. I'd be very curious how many of these are still around anywhere. And here's my car, so 94 LS Coupe, listed as gold color for $99.50. And then the actual printout is here. So 95,000 miles, $99.50 price tag, pretty basic description, just talks about the power convenience options. Bose stereo, ABS, power seats, very clean. So these were the photos with the listing. I've since changed quite a bit here. Right off the bat, the car got new 2-tone leather seats and took the Bose stereo out. Both of those things I'm thinking about changing back to stock at some point now that the car is not really daily driven. But this is the driveway that it sat in when I arrived. And being the analytical person that I am, I did research in March of 03 about Blue Book values. So this is what Kelly said. It was retailed at $13,200, a private party of $11,000, and a trade-in of $87.50. So the price I made an offer at was $9,500, and she took it. So I felt like that was a pretty solid deal. Now this is fun. This is me with all my $100 bills laid out on the kitchen counter the night before I was going to catch my flight from Las Vegas, and had a picture of the car in my hand there. And that's the boarding pass from my American Airlines flight that took me to San Jose, where I was picked up in a Jeep Grand Cherokee, oddly, to take me to get the car. So we're still going here. This was my day planner. I made a note here to take my CDs, my sunglasses, and a map, because I remember asking the seller's partner about directions, because MapQuest was still kind of the thing, you know, and I wanted to print as many pages as I needed to get where I was going. It was about a 500-mile drive home or more. No, it was more than that. I want to say it was about 6 or 7. Anyway, this is also my journal. I've kept a journal for most of my life. I'll read you, I'm not going to let you see the whole page, but I'll read you a couple sentences here. I talked about, I'm home in a new car that I couldn't be more thrilled with. This Legend is a sweet ride. It glides down the freeway, and it's been babied. I have a huge book of records. I lucked out. So, and the same holds true today. I still feel like I lucked out. Here's the actual key handoff. So, kind of interesting trivia here. This was not the original owner of the car. The car changed hands for a really brief moment of time, for about 6 months, I think, to this gal from the original owner. So, I don't know the circumstances there, other than I don't have contact with her anymore, but the original owner and I are the best of friends, and I've since gone on to be a big part of her life. And in fact, she came in 2011 when the car rolled 500,000 miles at the Honda party in Torrance. Some of you watching this were probably there. So there I am, getting the key, and then I set off on my drive. Oh yeah, there's my first fuel up. I paid $2.49 for premium gas in Firebaugh. It was right off Interstate 5 southbound. It's somewhere working my way over through the Green Hills, I guess. Had to stop for a picture at the world's tallest thermometer in Baker, right off Interstate 15. Cool little roadside destination. And finally, this is my grandparents' driveway the week, or maybe even the day after I got the car to Utah. I took it for breakfast at Burger King, so there's my car in the morning of the day after I got home. Obviously, you can see no tint, still wearing the California license plate, no spoiler, just totally stock. First wash. And then within a few weeks, obviously, I connected with the original owner, and she was eager to get in touch with me. She said, the car looks brand new. I love those new wheels. So by then, I wasted no time putting wheels on it. These 16s were ditched right off the bat for a set of, I want to say, 18-inch chrome 5-spoke wheels. But that was one of about 13 or so sets of wheels I did on the car over my 20-year ownership. But I'm most happy with the factory wheels on it now. So there you go. That is the timeline of how I came to acquire this car. It's been 20 years since. Been a super great trip with it, all the way across North America, from the reaches of Fairbanks, Alaska, all the way to Key West, Florida, and many, many places in between. Mexico a couple times, through the Yukon, Canada, and yeah, so who knows where the future will take us next, other than I am going to the National Acura Legend Meet in Lexington, Kentucky this August. If anybody is a Legend owner or even just a fan, come out and see us there. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you later.